Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back with a new Viking Orations. Got another review for you today, and this time I'm going to be talking to you about the brand new album from Vexing Hex, entitled Solve et Coagula, out now on Wise Blood Records. And if you're not familiar with Vexing Hex, they are a doom rock slash, as they put it on their Bandcamp, occult pop band out of Illinois, been around since 2014, featuring Haster, Lord of Madness, on bass and vocals, Radamant, Lord of Despair, on drums and vocals, Viscera, Lord of Torment, on keys, and the lone member to not actually contribute vocals to this thing, Liminos, Lord of Illusion, on guitars and vocals, and finally Cadaverous, Lord of Dread, on guitar and lead vocals. This is the band's second full-length album. It is 9 tracks and just a little over 40 minutes in length. And I have been a fan of this band since their debut album, Haunt, which was also put out by Wise Blood Records as one of their first releases on the label back in 2018. So, 6 years later, we get LP number 2, and it's definitely a different kind of release for Wise Blood, but a great one nonetheless, I think. What makes this album different from the standard Wise Blood fare is the sound that the band chose to go for on this particular album, with them stating that on here they, quote, put the ABBA in Sabbath. So do with that what you will. But yeah, Haster's bass tone on here is just very thick sounding, easily heard, not only providing a solid backbone to all the songs throughout this album, but also providing a really nice groove as well. We get into the second track, Besmirched, which is definitely one of my favorites on the album. It is also easily the heavier of the two opening tracks because, it's like night and day when you hear these first two tracks. The bass especially sounds heavy on this one here, and he gets a nice moment to shine during the opening moments, accompanied by some really heavy riff work as well. And speaking of that track, there's this very ominous and very heavy synth section that goes on at about 1:59 of the song. It's just like, oh, so damn good. And, speaking of the keys and the synths, I love how well done they are on this album. Even though they're right up in the mix, much like the other instruments here, they're never over the top, they never overpower anything else, and they especially work well with guitars for a really good accompaniment to them. Just really well done. When you get into track number 3, 1000 Eyes, there's a very cool kind of keyboard intro to this song in particular, and then the gang shouts that actually accompany the keys whenever they come in throughout this song actually have a very Ramones-esque feel to them, I thought. When they started doing those, I was like, that's very, very much like the Ramones would do. Radamant is no slouch on this album here on the drums. The production for the drums is really solid, and he does some really cool patterns, rolls, and fills, and in general lays down a really solid beat throughout the entire album. The guitars tend to be like mid-paced for the most part, providing some nice gallops and grooves. And while they may not, they may be kind of on the lighter goth rocky side of things, that's not to say that they can't be heavy as well. There's some guitar spots on here that are just heavy as hell, and they're very doomy and brooding as well. And you also get some acoustic guitar, such as in track 6, Mind Funeral, as well as some really cool guitar solos throughout this entire thing. I thought Cadaverous turned in another solid vocal performance here, and throwing in some nice falsettos now and then. He does these really creepy whispered vocals, and I really love the vocal layers that they do at times. It kind of throw in multiple vocals at the same time, and it doesn't sound like too much or too overpowering or anything. It's just done really well. And honestly, when you hear him sing, you cannot help but think of Pampa Emeritus from Ghost. I mean, he's just got that same kind of style, and it just really fits well with the music. Some of the other things I picked out on here, the lead-off track, Into the Night, which is actually the first song I heard off of the album before this actually came out. And again, the Ghost vibes are just all over this song. The minute you hear it, you just can't help. This would easily fit on a Ghost album somewhere. But what stood out to me in this song is a little section that comes in about 2:53 into the song. There's this brief trumpet section that comes in that easily could have been on any Beatles album. I mean, that's, as soon as that came out, I was like, man, that is so Beatles-esque. That is unreal. Track number 4, Wiccophobia. I love the way that the band utilizes the funeral bell in this song, as it really adds to its overall heavier and darker feel. Because, the first 3 tracks, it kind of, a little bit lighter, and then it gets a little bit heavier. But this track in particular just has this, very, dark feel to it. And those funeral bells, I thought, really added to that. And then you got track number 8, Sarcophagus. Without a doubt, the most metal sounding track on this entire album. And, not only does the opening bring to mind, at least to me, Dream Theater, but so does that nice chuggy groove at about 155, especially when, the keyboards join in that groove at about 205. It's so much like Dream Theater. I absolutely loved it. Overall, I think this is just another solid release from these doomy occult rockers. And, while a different sort of release for Wise Blood is yet another addition, another fine addition, I should say, to their catalog nonetheless. It's catchy, it gets the head nodding, and you singing along as the band entrances you with their mystical melodies and atmosphere. You can't help but think of bands when you're listening to this, like, Ghost, as I mentioned before, The Doors, the Beatles, the Ramones, basically just any kind of 60s rock or occult rock band. This is what this band really brings to mind. It really fits well with that whole genre, really. And honestly, if you're looking for something out of the norm to listen to kind of take a break from all the black and death metal that's out there right now, look no further than Vexing Hex and their brand new album. I give this a solid 9 out of 10. Go check them out. I will be leaving a link down below to their Bandcamps and the Wise Blood Bandcamp, so you can check this out for yourself. Pick yourself up a copy, pick up some merch, and definitely give these guys some support. And yeah, that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.